Hey everyone, how are you? This is Elise and welcome to your first episode of your PhiLOVESOULphy TV, Spirituality Made Simple. So the reason why I've created this TV series or video series over the next couple of weeks is because I find that there are a lot of concept about how spiritual people should be, what spirituality really means, and then there's another group of spiritual people which that's how I started. I was so spiritual, learning how to channel, learning how to read cards, just basically wanting to go up the mountains and just not want to be human beings, which is not practical at all. So now that I have implemented everything together in my life, I know how to create a create a life based on law of attraction. How do I, use my intuitive, how do I connect with God, in the practical, simple ways. And when we first started, we all think we got to dress like Doreen Virtue. We got to be in those angel wings. We got to, just basically be in the white robes and have this aura going on and that kind of thing. So it's not really practical. And I find that when you do that, you actually disconnect yourself from being a human being, and you're always wanting to go home because you're always wanting to escape reality. But the truth is, you are here now on earth. So when you have chosen as a soul to reincarnate or to incarnate in this life form, and we walk through this veil of amnesia, and then you forget how life was in the soul level or whatever it is, and there is always this tendency of wanting to go home. So the newer concept recently, where a lot of gurus are talking about it as well, is to make earth a piece of heaven. Then you stop wanting to want to go home all the time. All right. So that is why I really created it, to make spirituality really simple so that you can implement it in your life. I've done many readings, I've done many healings, and I've done many sessions of coaching. However, knowing is one thing, and knowing how to integrate it with your life, in your life, that's another thing. And that is something so key, because many people have read Think and Grow Rich, many people have gone through healings, even a reading. However, then why are people's lives still in a mess? And since the book The Secret came out, people should know, right? Like, oh, law of attraction, like attracts like. But then why are there still so many unhappy people? Millionaires are not born overnight. So there is an element of that part, that side, that is missing. And I so want to teach you how to do that. The key is knowing and then integrating it by taking action. When we know, it's painful enough. When we start to integrate it, that's another pain. And that's why you see so many people being disconnected. So I've got my cards ready today as well. So if you would like to have a reading, please leave me a comment right now and tell me you're interested in a reading. Otherwise, I'm just going to do a very general reading. So I have disappeared, not really disappeared, but I took some time out for myself. I think it's for about 45 days to 60 days to really reconnect with myself and with my soul. And I think this is important because, the society is always busy, 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 busy. And then it's not practical to just go up the mountain and all day long and just be disconnected from the human world. To be honest, that's what I wanted to do, because I was a flight attendant for many years, and then I decided that, hey, I really wanted to be disconnected from people, because when I was a flight attendant, people were just bitching, people were just gossiping, and I'm like, oh my God, there must be more to life than this. You know what I mean? So I thought maybe I'll go be child care teacher, because when you are looking after kids, they don't have so many drama, they don't have all the stuff going on, right? And then human beings, adults, are like, oh my God, so much drama. But to be honest, I think I was also in a very drama place. Hello, morning Andy, morning Siobhan, how are you doing? Good morning. So I'm thinking there must be more to life, that maybe I want to go up the mountains and just renounce everything and live up there. And that's not practical as well. So I told one of my friends, she's also very spiritual, she's also a lawyer. She said, well, you know what? It's a very nice idea to want to go live up the mountains. Why don't you try, we have this place called Bukit Timah Hill in Singapore. It's like a hill. I mean, Siobhan, you should know, like a lot of hilly places in Hong Kong. So, well, Singapore is a small hill, and it's like a small hill, like a hump. So I said, why don't you go try living on a small hill first before you go move up the mountain? I'm like, you know what? That's true. I won't be able to survive up in the mountains. It's just crazy. So I have come to this realization that I'm a city girl. There is no way I can go live up in the mountains. I can't do this. How I realized this is, my husband's family side is Hainanese, and they wanted to go back to Hainan Island to just pay respects. I was 6 months pregnant then, and we went to the village side. So there's two parts to Hainan Island. This side is like the beach and all that, but we went back to the village side, and oh my god, I just couldn't survive. And who am I to kid myself, right? So when you have an idea, investigate whether that's for you or not. So I've been talking a lot, and you may be wondering who the hell I am, right? So I'm the founder and the host of this amazing thriving group, the Spiritual Entrepreneurs, where we are hosting more than 18,000 members from around the world. Yes, from around the world. And I'm also the host of the PhiLOVESOULphy TV, Spirituality Made Simple. So the reason why I disappeared, to be honest, is because I am guided. I feel like, despite my drug addict days, my alcoholic days, but there's always this driving force that is protecting me. And I just followed it, even though it was the drug days, I just followed it because I thought that was just so amazing. So if you ask me, do I regret? To be honest, I don't, because as I think back right now, those experiences were necessary for my growth. They were necessary for me to experience how it feels like to avoid reality. So today's topic is about Facebook is not for the faint-hearted. So talking about Facebook, there is so much smokes and screens out there on Facebook. People only select the prettier photos, like, oh, me and my husband, me and my kids. And if you don't have a strong self-esteem or confidence, you will be like wallowed up. You would be swallowed up, and you would feel so bad about yourself. So I want you to also realize that being on Facebook all day long is also an addiction. So addiction, it takes up many forms, just because, the more dramatic ones would be, smoking, weed, cigarettes, alcohol, drugs. That would be the more obvious addiction. But sex is an addiction, shopping is an addiction. And now addicted to social media is an addiction. So most of us have got very weak self-esteem, and therefore when we post something out, you make sure you are good and awesome, and then how many of you, like me included, would go check on how many likes do I have. Like it's as if as the likes is the representation of our ego and the representation of how well we are liked by the public, which is kind of like not true, because I have realized that when I post very deep topics, like you should know where your source of food came from. Like recently I posted something on I posted a series of videos of various animals, like the cows were being brutally tortured before they were killed for their meat. The pigs were given, like they were in this small little sanitation place where, not sanitation, like they were just given this little cubicle where things are just so crazy, and nobody liked it. Nobody responded. I think it's because the topic is so deep. But when I post like lighthearted stuff, like my pictures of Phuket and that kind of thing, I get really a lot of likes, and like those throwback photos of me and my husband and the kids. People just love it. So it got me thinking about the mentality when people are on Facebook. Hang on, just let me see. All right, so that being said, being a more conscious person and being spiritual, it doesn't mean that you're excused from the addictions and being affected by those posts as well, because we are a human being. I want you to realize that you are a human being with a soul. So the soul has taken up this physical form. So with that comes with all the emotions. Get it? So there is you shouldn't be judging yourself. I know the next topic is talking about why, one of the topics next couple of weeks, I'm talking about why negativity is not a bad word. So, but to keep this flowing, I want to let you know that I want you to observe your emotions. So I just want to let you know this story because I love telling stories, and then so that you can resonate with me easily. So I took this 45 days off, right? So as you can imagine, my esteem is not as high as I look. All right, let's be honest. I always tell people I'm too a human being. I'm not some 12 dimensional being just because I'm spiritual. I'm not. I recognize that I am a human being and experiencing all the emotions as well. So the reason why I took off for 45 to 60 days is because, every year I would go on a self-retreat, self-realization on what I want to experience in the next year. Not really goal setting, but it's just to want to find out what I want to experience and then go freaking create it, right? So I prefer going for the experience versus making goals. Okay, my hair is out of place. Okay. So when I go for the experience, then there cannot be right or wrong. But when you go after the goals and you don't get it, if you don't get it, then it's like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me and blah, 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 blah. So that keeps me sane. So every year around October-ish, I would go through this cycle. But apparently this year, because of all the new moons and the full moons and the energies coming in, the divine has guided me to take earlier action, which is actually in July, which is very unlikely. Like July is just almost half the year gone. Like, why would I plan for the next year? But apparently this energy is like this. So, and the guided voice was like, you've got to stop business coaching. And I couldn't understand why. And when that information first came to me, and I'm like, then what the hell am I going to do, right? Like, if I'm not going to do business coaching, I've been doing it for a couple of years now, and that was part of my identity, right? So then I'm in a complete loss. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, I don't know what I want to do. And around this time, I'm also guided to work more on my shadow side, working with my relationship with my mother, like what's really holding me back, and really on more deeper stuff, because a lot of times when we start working on ourselves, it's about the superficial stuff. And I've been working on this mother issue thing for a long time. Trust me, a long time overdue. But every time I work on it, it's very superficial. First of all, because I feel like I can't take the truth. So I did this healing, and the healer was saying, go back to the time when you were younger. And my mind resisted going back. And she's like, why? I said, what if I went back and I saw something that I didn't want to see? Because every healer needs a healer, because you have blind spots, right? So don't even try to think about healing yourself, right? There's certain parts of the shadow side that you won't be able to see because it's in the shadow for a reason. And she said, what if there are beautiful memories there? And I'm like, you've got a good point. So that got activated, and I started to remember. And that's another episode I'll share with you, on the episode why we don't remember our childhood memories. So, and it is so important that we acknowledge those sides of us. But to cut the long story short, that was why I decided to stay away for 60 days to kind of like figure out what I want to do. And I don't want to be in business just for the sake of being in business. I don't want to be in business just to make money, because that didn't light me up as well. And that was the reason why I decided to not have anything to do with money last year. And that was a crazy experience. That's a crazy intention, because the universe gives you exactly what you asked for. Clients were dropping out, and I was back to my 50 cent days, worse than my $1 days, and banks were calling me. So be careful what you the intention that you ask for, because it will come true. So I rejected money because I didn't want money to define who Elise Ann is, because Elise Ann is more than money, right? So that was really an interesting concept. And, I wouldn't, it was a very terrible experience at that time, but I wouldn't miss that part of experience because it's growth. So anyway, to cut the long story short, so this 60 days, we're really going for it and that sort of thing. And now I finally figured out I want to do more soul work, because it doesn't matter if you're going after your business, wanting to find true love, that kind of thing. We all need to connect with that side of us, with our inner child, with God. Then struggling stops. And even when you struggle, you know how to quickly align yourself, because this is part of the process. So I came back from Phuket and I was just scrolling on my Facebook news feed, like that's the part of entertainment, right? And I was feeling bored. I didn't want to work yet because I was just back to, getting back into momentum. And then I saw one of this girl who started around the same time as me, or she's newer than me, and now she's going for it and she's doing all these things, and come on, you know what I'm talking about, right? And it was like I suddenly felt triggered. I felt like I wasn't good enough. Like I started to feel jealous of her. I started to bitch about her inside on me. And then I told my you have to verbalize your emotions, because part of healing is to talk about it, right? And know that you have to find someone who can understand you. And so my friend said, try giving her blessings. And I know all these things because I teach this. But when you're so involved with your own emotional crisis, you forget all the logical teaching. So that's why you need to hang out with people who get you and understand this process. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm being childish. Basically. So when you're unconscious, when you look at other people, like, wow, like, I'm smarter than her. I'm prettier than her. I've got a degree. Actually, I don't. But if you have a degree, you could be saying, well, I have a degree and she doesn't have a degree. What gives her the right to do this? And why can't I do this? And blah, blah, blah. Like typical women bitching and gossip stuff. So it happens. It happens to me too, because I'm a human being and I'm a woman, right? Filled with emotions. And so I couldn't give her blessing at that time, because I would be lying to myself if I gave her blessing. I don't want to lie to myself. I don't want to tell my unconscious mind that you are not trustworthy and you are just crazy bitch, right? So I'm like, you know what? I've been doing this work for such a long time. I know how to manage this. So I basically said, I acknowledged my situation. You know what? She triggered me for a reason. And I'm going to find out what the reason is. But at this moment, there is no way I can give her blessings, but I can thank her for triggering this part of me inside of me. So that the process that I did was, I first acknowledged that I couldn't love her. I couldn't give her blessings, but I could thank her for triggering that side of me. That I didn't feel good enough and that sort of thing. So I told my friend, like, what is it exactly that you are triggered about? Well, she's creating this impact and that sort of thing. She's like, what makes you so sure that you're not creating impact? So I started to compare myself with her. And so I came to a realization that her journey is between her and God. And who am I to judge whether it's good or bad or whatever it is? And ultimately, like I say, on Facebook, there are lots of smokes and screens. Most people don't tell you the truth. And that's what I aim for. I want to tell you the truth. I want to document my own emotional crisis to let you know that it is normal. You are meant to have crisis. You are meant to have that so that you can grow. People on Facebook will show those, like, glamorous, like, I bet you they don't look like that every day. They don't. I came from Phuket and I was having, my own client retreat, and I invited her to be on one of my calls, and both of us were in pajamas. Seriously. And she looked so shocked, like, despite all the glam stuff, but behind the scenes is really that simple. So she was in the other side of the room and I was in the living room, because where I was in my room, Wi-Fi was bad, right? So the phone rang, somebody was at the door, and it's like, oh my God, what do you do with this? So this is real life. It's not all put together. nobody lives like a celebrity kind of life. If you meet a celebrity I don't know, like Beyonce or something on the streets, she's probably just as plain Jane as you and I. So that perception is completely not true. So I do my best to show you the different sides of me. Like this t-shirt, I love stripes so much. I happened to walk into a shop and they were having a sale, and this cost $5. So I love it so much, and the material is really good, it's comfortable. So I'm wearing a $5 t-shirt. I don't have to wear a $5,000 shirt just to prove a point. I don't. This is life, especially I'm a mother, you know. It's not always glamorous. Do you know what I mean? So I invite you all to be as true as possible, the closest to reality that you are on a day-to-day basis, and show it online. Because that's what people need right now. They don't need wide connections. They need deeper connections. On some of my videos, when I just want to prove a point, then I would just go on without makeup and just say something, you know, because the message is clear. So right from the beginning, when you're not a fako, then you don't have to carry on with that fako persona. You know what I mean? So going on to Facebook and checking her out, and I'm like, you know what? She's triggering a part of me. The lifestyle, the glamours, and obviously I'm still attracted to it. So in the past, I'd be like, you know, I bitch about the lifestyle, I talk about it, but honestly, I do enjoy that part of lifestyle. And if you work really hard in your business and make lots of money, you can. The lifestyle comes naturally by default. Why should you show? And I want to share with you, so while I was in Phuket, I had some time to myself, and I was just Sia, SIA, you know, because I love her songs. One of the songs, Cheap Thrills, I really love it. Showed up, and I didn't even realize that she sang so many awesome songs. So for some reason, again, I was guided to check her out, and now she's so famous, right? And now I realize when she's doing interviews, she would have a wig up here like this. She would cover her face like this, or she would do interviews just the back facing. And her reason is because when she walks into Target or whatever it is, nobody knows her, because when she was so famous, when she got to a little bit of a fame, she got the drugs, alcohol, depression, and so on and so forth. And she realized that the cause of her agony, her popularity or fame or whatever, it is because of the industry. So she thought about it, and she said there must be a way where I can still, you know, perform, play my music, and still keep my identity. Because when you become famous, that identity, it's not a luxury anymore. So, and that's what she did, and it got me thinking, like, wow, you can keep your identity and still do your work. So why is it not possible in our industry? Our industry, my industry, meaning the coaching industry, the healing industry, why does it always have to be so showy, showy, showy? Why can't you just be recognized for your talents, regardless of how you look or what your lifestyle is? Why are we making judgments based on that? So that got me thinking. And I came back and I saw this girl, and she's like, oh, and it's like, oh. And so what I really wanted was that impact, that connection with people. So you ask yourself, why are you triggered in the first place? What is it that you see that you're jealous of, that envious of, that she has? And that's clear indication that you want it. So instead of like judging her and poking fingers, acknowledge that she probably has put in a lot of work to get herself there. And it triggered me because I took off for 60 days, right? And I wasn't putting as much effort as I need to. So I started to implement stuff. Like the minute I realized, and I'm like, no, I'm going to do this PhiLOVESOULphy right away. So this happened Monday. So I decided I'm going to do this on Wednesday just to keep that momentum going on. Like, you don't have to wait. As long as you just do something, keep it going, that feeling would come back. And excuse me. So I did thank her eventually. I could bless her. Because let me tell you something, your unconscious mind is very naive. It's very simple. When you bitch about other people, this goes back to also the concept of oneness. When you bitch about other people, your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference. That's why visualizations are so powerful. So when you bitch about people, there's a train of thoughts that go on in your head, and there's the emotion. And what does like attract likes mean? It attracts based on your emotions. It's not about what you want, what you don't want. It's based on your emotions. So when you bitch about other people, you're emotional about it, and that's what is going to be attracted to you. More so, your unconscious mind doesn't get it, whether you're bitching about other people or it's about yourself. And so your unconscious mind is going to think, well, she doesn't want it, and I'm going to give more of that to her instead. But this concept of oneness is the same. When you bitch about other people, it comes back to you. It's the same as Newton's third law of motion. I can't exactly remember the thing, but it's what you give out is what you give back. And Einstein said that's Newton's law, and Einstein said you attract what you radiate. So all the great people, scientists or not scientists or spirituality, still says the same thing. So your base of your point of attraction is you. So you know all this, right? But you actually have to work through those emotions to clear the energy. Knowing is one thing, going through clearing is another thing. So you need a facilitator to help you with that. So that being said, that was my process. I recognized why I was triggered. It's not about her, right? She's living a fantastic life, and I wanted that fantastic life too. So that was the time I realized, hey, this is exactly what I want. I acknowledged what I want, and I actually thanked her for showing me that side of what is possible for my life. And then I realized I wanted the impact, I wanted the connection, I wanted all that. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you for showing that to me. And I wish you all the best. Sincerely, I wish you all the best. Going back to the soul level, right? All of us came from the same source, okay? We are basically brothers and sisters, going through our own experiences. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the collective consciousness. So what you are going through is going back to collective consciousness, and it will help us at the same time, all of us. So don't think that, oh my God, who am I to do this? I'm just one person, like, oh, da 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 da. Why me, poor me? So I invite you to consider this concept. You are not here to save anyone. You are here to evolve based on your soul's evolution and your own destiny and your soul's journey. So when a part of you clicks and you clear that side of the energy, that means it transforms to a positive energy, right? And when you transform, when you don't become so bitchy, when you show more compassion, and then it has that butterfly effect. Your husband is not so, okay, let me give you an example. So for example, a very unconscious couple, right? And man and wife, husband and wife, always argues. They fight all the time because of money, because of kids. This is a typical scene. So unconscious couple, okay? So wife is going through a tantrum and she's like, oh, you're not good enough, you're good for nothing, blah, 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 or whatever it is they are fighting. In the morning, husband goes to work. He's maybe a boss of some sort. Let's just say he's a boss, okay? He's a boss. And he goes to work with a very bad attitude, bad feeling. And so how do you think he's going to treat his colleagues and the people who work under him? Not so good, right? Maybe that he can compartmentalize, but not as good as he needs to be. And that filters down, trickles down to them. And if they are in a sales position or whatever position they're in, like, shit, I'm just having a bad day. My boss having a bad day. Now I'm having a bad day. Because most people are not conscious. They don't know how to manage their emotions. And then they go on to treat other people badly. And if the girlfriend calls, the wife calls, like, don't bother me. And so can you imagine? It's just from you, like not you, but this wife, right? And then imagine the kids go to school, like, mom's in a bad day. Oh my God, I don't know what I did right now. And then it goes down, it trickles down. So don't think that you as one person will not affect the many emotions. Now, on the contrary, let's go back to it. The wife, happy life, right? So the wife is happy, like, oh, darling, have a good day, bless you, blah, blah, blah. The husband's really happy. He goes to work and everything is perfectly fine. Oh, you did a mistake. Oh, it's okay. Let's just talk and see what you see what I mean? So it goes back to a happy household, a happy person. And even if not talking about the household, let's say you met some idiot on the street, like, okay, I'm judging, but I have to dramatize the effect, okay? And you meet this person and they just bumped into you and like, what the hell is wrong? Like, you get affected and you get, and then you get affected by him because he made you feel so, and then it goes, and then you walk around feeling like crap, even though this person doesn't know you or you don't know this person. So if you're not conscious, you will be affected by other people's moods very easily. However, let's say you just walk around and be crazy and just smile, hey, hi, how are you? And hi, how are you? Even though that person is having a bad day, if you smile at this person long enough and you look at it, they will look at you and you're like, even though it's a very like forceful smile, so you as one person can affect. And at the same time, collectively, your experience goes back up to the collective consciousness. There is both the collective unconsciousness and the collective consciousness. So there's two sides. So if you look on Facebook, and I invite you today to go look on Facebook, but ground yourself first because it can be really crazy. So go on Facebook, say, go look at Kim Kardashian or go look at Donald Trump. Look at all the comments. You see some crazy comments. You see people just trying to kill each other within the post. And you know that as a spiritual person, as a transformational leader or facilitator, you know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So spirituality, it's not about keeping safe within our community, because it's easy to be sane in our community because everybody gets it. But I'm going to talk about spiritual hypocrisy as well, because not every spiritual person is really grounded and sane. But let's just assuming you're in the group that gets you and you're like, oh la, they give you this la feeling all day long. That is not doing the work as well. Doing your work means going out there when the world is in crumbles and you're like meaning to you are able to maintain your sanity. If you have kids, you know what I mean. Sometimes I'm not the most spiritual mom. I throw a tantrum as well. But then you ask yourself, what are your kids trying to teach you? Patience. And so it's like, just because you're spiritual doesn't mean that you don't have tantrums. You just have to observe what those tantrums are. So anyway, I looked at that girl and I'm like, I totally get it. Thank you for showing me, and I bless you and wish you all the success that you can. And thank you for all the work that you're doing, and at this point in time, showing me what is possible for me. So if you are not strong, and if you are not grounded, and if you're not secured with yourself, you see all these things in the past. I think I don't know if they're anymore, but in the past, you see make 30 days and 30K. I used to be sucked into this as well, because for somebody who hasn't made any money, and you see someone making money, you would want it. So I understand it, right? There's no judgment around it. But I think there's an element of truth when you promote your business like this, making 5 figures, 6 figures, or whatever it is. You have to tell people it's not easy. I tell people it's not easy. Just, you want to do it? Okay, come, let's go for it. If you don't, then it's fine too. So, and you see people like making 25K, 5 clients, I made 100K, 7 figures. If you're not like secured, you're going to think, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. I'm not making so much. I'm this and I'm that. And it will cause you to crumble even more. It does. It really, really does. So I want you to, we women start a business for a reason. I don't know about you, but you think about it, why you started your business in the first place. I was having a conversation with a client and she asked me, why do you do what you do, Elise? To be honest, right at the beginning, it's not about saving the world. It's about saving me. I started the business because I didn't want a job. I didn't want to depend on my husband. And I want to be a mom. And since I have some talent in card reading and crystal jewelry designing, then I'm going to monetize that. It was a very simple intention. And I always say this for years, I want to be a good mom. I want to be a good mom. I spend more time with them. And for so many years, I actually, to be honest, I haven't been spending a lot of time the way I intended to, because my personal growth and career kicked in. And I guess, it all had to happen like that. Thank you for the hearts. So because I went to Phuket recently and I'm more in a more matured space, you know what I mean? So I had mom guilt. I have mom guilt all the time when I leave, okay? But apparently this time the mom guilt is, hey Heidi, is a different kind of mom guilt, and with everything going on, right? And so I realized, why am I guilty? Why am I feeling the mom guilt? I'm feeling the mom guilt because I'm taking time for granted during the normal days like this with my kids, and I'm assuming that I have a lot of time. And then when I'm about to leave, I kind of like feel guilty. But it's not about them, it's about me, right? And then of course, every time I leave, my kids will fall sick and have this drama thing going on. I think it all stems from me, right? And so after this whole triggering part of me, and I have to thank her for that as well, I came to this decision that or this awareness that why did I start my business really in the first place? So that I can be a mom. Like, that's the reason why I want to stay home. I can pick and send my kids to school and just be with their lives. And now I'm doing this because they're not here, right? So I told my daughter that I needed accountability. So my daughter is 10 now, so she knows. And I sometimes ask her, how can I be a better mother for you? And she would tell me. And then she said, I feel guilty about this now, because she said, this is the second time, you said this, so you better make it through. And I said, well, the third time's a charm. She's like, no, it has to be this time. So I told her, some of you, some of you don't know that I posted on my own personal page so I told her, you know what? I really want to be more involved with your life right now. I want to be more focused on you and the girls. And she's like, she's really happy about this. And then she started planning my work schedule. Like Monday, well, let's just see. Monday, you don't go to work. And then Tuesday, you can work till 6 o'clock. And then Wednesday, this and that. And Saturday and Sunday, you won't work. So I thought about it. I'm like, you're basically planning my roster, my schedule based on your schedule. Yeah, of course, you have to come pick me up, right? And yeah, because I want you to be with us for a long time, so you have to take care of your health too. My 10-year-old child, like, she became the mother. And so I'm like, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. I am going to be very focused, and this is part of what lights me up as a woman and as a soul. And as a human being, that my contribution, my work matters. But at the same time, I have decided that my motherhood, being a mother comes first. Of course, no, being a mother comes first. Then me, then the wife. The husband always take the back seat, right? So I decided, you know what? And I told myself, in this lifetime, if I'm never going to be a millionaire, that is fine. If I spend more time nurturing my kids, then if they become a millionaire, I've got 3 of them, so chances are one of them may be, right? Then I can just write it up then. Right? So that got me thinking on my own priorities as a mother and as a woman at the same time. And, with all the Facebook going on, you got to scale, you got to do big, play a bigger game, and this, and oh my God. So I just decided, you know what if I just want to have a hobby business? I don't want to scale. I don't want to have any employees. Does that make me, there's something wrong with me just because I don't want to have any employees? I don't want to play the bigger game. I don't want to have all that kind of responsibility. Does that mean that there's something wrong with me to have a hobby business? Because there's so much about hobby business shaming, right? Oh, you that kind of thing. But I want freedom, and at the same time, I want to serve people. And so I have to find a balance in my own life, not just because some guru said it, then it must be the Holy Grail or the Bible, So you decide for yourself, and there's no right and there's no wrong. This comes with emotional maturity. This comes with spiritual maturity, and this comes with age-appropriate maturity by actually taking time to discover what you want. Don't get me wrong. I'm still very ambitious, okay? I'm still very ambitious. I still want that success for myself. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be a whiny, needy mother. I want that for myself, my soul satisfaction, my own soul growth. However, there has to be a balance. I would still want to go out there and make my life work, and I want all that. Don't get me wrong. I want all of that too. I'm very ambitious. The day that I'm not ambitious, there is something wrong with me. All right. Those of you who know me know that I'm very ambitious as well. However, I also recognize right now that I wear a lot of hats, and I have to find that balance. All right. So every time you go online and you see this, like this and that, acknowledge those emotions and know that there's nothing wrong with you. I want that lifestyle. I have acknowledged it. And during those 60 days, I hated it. I acknowledged it. I hated it. Like, I used to think my hate is a strong word. Hate is a bad word. And you shouldn't be, like, having those emotions. But now I stand before you very confidently. I say I hated that period. That's an emotion. I hated it because I didn't have any control. I had to surrender myself, and I had to wait. For those of us who are control freaks would know what I'm talking about. So I just acknowledged it. I really hated it. And when I have acknowledged it, to be honest, on the contrary, life just took off for me. Like, it started to happen. So it's really funny, right? Like you hold on to something thinking that you're in control, and then when you acknowledge it, and then it kind of like it works out in every direction. So let me tell you, just because you're spiritual doesn't mean bad things don't happen to you. Just because you're spiritual, shit things still happen, and it's how you manage and deal with life. All right. So if you have a question about Facebook is not for the faint-hearted, leave me a comment. If you're watching the replay, leave me a comment as well. I would love to hear from how you deal with Facebook. I mean, it's really a tool. If you understand it, like money, Google is a tool. This is a tool. If you use it appropriately, it can assist you to take your message out there. If you don't use it wisely, it will control you, just like money. All right. So understand that, you know, the mentality of the people who are on Facebook, a lot of times is just showing. And if you're not confident in yourself, you will be affected. So what I suggest for you to do, that's what I did for myself. I do a little bit of a Facebook cleansing. I unfriended people who are negative. I unfriended or unfollowed people who bitch a lot. I just unfollowed people who were just like, oh, make 25K, look at me, la 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 la. Not that I can't take it, but I just want to make my time effective and useful while I'm online, you know what I mean? And to keep myself emotionally sane. So that's what I did. And I cleared up a lot of my likes as well. Like I really consciously, you know, you can't control the environment, but you can control your environment, right? So I consciously decide who I want to see more of. And I used to like Trump a lot because I think he's a brilliant businessman, but nowadays I'm like, okay, I'll think about it, right? But still, yeah. So that's what you can control. And every time I wake up and look at it's like, oh, I feel good about myself. It's nothing but good stuff, and you know, that nurtures my soul food, you know what I mean? So that part you can control yourself, and that's taking responsibility. All right, so are you all ready for a card reading? Let's just see. Today I actually talked a lot because this is the first episode, so I have time for one and a group reading. If you want more of these readings, I'm, you know, rebranding the Spiritual School of Money to the School of PhiLOVESOULphy, a journey to inner peace, abundance, and freedom. So when I say freedom, it's really the freedom of choice. We get to pick and choose freely, and really that's what I gain, what I'm after. But I don't think there's such a thing even for total freedom, because total freedom means no responsibility and no boundaries. So I want to do more in life, you know. So I have a few comments I want to read out. Siobhan, I've been there before and completely agree. It's one thing to know the theory, but practicing it can be tricky. We all need the support crew to help us deal with our shadow. Exactly. Because we all have blind spots. If you drive, you know what I mean, like blind spots, right? Yeah, Sia, she's handling her success and perception. Again, for her, she had to go through hell before she found her own kind of like sweet spot, right? She went through also the depression side, the drugs, the alcoholic, and all that to find herself. So it is necessary to go through hell. So don't avoid that side, because if you don't go through hell, how do you know how heaven feels like, right? Martine, that's so freeing. Elisa, and mom guilt come from us, not our kids. It's true. I mean, do you remember? I mean, if you're kids, do you remember the first day of your kids' school? Like you bring them to school, they cry, right? But more often than not, it's because they tapped into your emotions about not letting them go. So they are not going because you are not letting them go, and then you're like, oh, you know. After 3 children, my 3rd child, I just drop and go because they can figure themselves out. So that's what I did. Yep. Deleted people who did not resonate with me or made. That's right. All right. So invest in your children. It's the best investment you will ever make. I've been in business for 35 years. Raised 2 amazing children who have grown up to be amazing adults. You probably... I want to see this. You probably know my daughter Monique Alvarez. I have no doubt both of them will be very wealthy. Yes, it's all about balance. But whatever it is, when we teach them the right concept about wealth, abundance, and all that, then that's good. So apparently, we have no requests, and I have another thing going on at 10 o'clock, so I have a card for you. Like you see me doing this. So the card is Angel of New Life, an exciting new chapter in your life is about to unfold. So you let go of all the things on Facebook first is really cleansing as well. And a new chapter of your life is about to unfold. And it ties in beautifully with the 9th of the 9th of the 9th that happened recently. It's a completion cycle. And this year is all about completing your lessons that you have been avoiding. So yes, it may bring up to you, I'm like, I thought I worked through that. But if it's coming up for you, apparently it's not. It's not a time to avoid it because you have to go through it anyway. Just like if you avoid the lessons in this current life, you will come back in the next life to go through it again. So might as well do it once and for all. And right now, on the energies that are coming in, the veils are lifted up. A lot of support is coming in from the divine and the galactic council and all of the divine angels and all that kind of thing. A lot of help that's coming in because it's supporting your time right now, though it's difficult and challenging, but at the end of every challenge you always find the rainbow. So do not avoid it, work through it because you're almost there. And next year is a beginning cycle. You get to start and choose again. When you let go of who you think you are, then you get to pick and choose. Ultimately, who you are right now is a collection of belief system that didn't belong to you in the first place. So if you're feeling like, you know what, I don't know why I decided this, but it's like this and that. So think about it. Maybe it's not your decision. Maybe you have tapped into someone else's decision. Awesome. So I want to draw 3 cards usually. Oops. So I'm going to draw in front of you to make sure that, look, I'm not seeing no eyes. Angel of Manifestation. Your efforts, determination, and perseverance will have paid off. So I want you to know that at the end of every breakdown, there's always a breakthrough. You cannot be the same person. If you want to create another result, you have to let that person go. And, based on my experience, sometimes when you let that person go, you feel like there's a loss. Like you literally feel someone died, right? When someone passes on, you feel sad because that side of that person is no longer here. So sometimes you will grieve. And I want you to know that grieving part, it's normal. It's really normal because that side of you has been with you for so many years, right? So do understand that this is part of the healing process as well. It's absolutely normal, okay? I don't want you to think like, oh my God, I feel shit about myself right now now that I know who I can be and that sort of thing. It's normal. Sometimes you have to grieve and it's okay to grieve, but don't grieve too long. Know that you can now, take care of yourself and you have to be an adult. Maybe that's what it is. You grieve because, oh my God, I have to grow up. No, I cannot, no, I can no longer blame people. So yeah, that's part of grieving. All right, so next card. Goddess of Sacred Power. You're being encouraged to take action. You're encouraged. I suddenly can't read today. Oh my God. You are being encouraged to take a leading role in your current situation. So you have to be the leader. If you are going through mom issues, then be the mother you want to have, because you can't change your mother. You can't change your father. You can't change anyone else but you. So you got to take that lead. And sometimes, like I say, you can no longer be the victim. You have to be an adult. So that's what the thing is all about, taking charge of your life. It's not easy. Being an adult is not easy. Who says it's easy, right? So if every breakdown comes with a breakthrough, because that's just the law, all right? The longer you stay in the breakdown, the longer you experience your breakthrough. Look, it took me... it didn't take me very long, just 60 days, right? Because I actually resisted and I didn't surrender. And once I surrendered, my fear... Oh, I want to tell you about my thumb. I have 5 more minutes, but I'll tell you next week about my thumb. I had this excruciating pain on my thumb it's crazy. It's mind-boggling. I thought I was going to die of cancer or bone cancer or something. I'll tell you next week. Remind me, because we're running out of time. So these are the 3 cards. Once again, Angel of New Life, which is beautiful because this is the month of completion and you have another 3 months to work through it, because next year will be a brand new start. All right, and then I should go this way. And then we have the angel of manifestation. We all want a, validation from the angels, right? Right. And then we have this sacred power. Take your power back. All right, these are the 3 cards for you for this week. And let's just see if they have anything else to say. So the message I got for the group is accept what is in front of you. There is no point running away. The more you run away, the more you don't want to accept the reality, the more you struggle. When you accept what is without a story, that is when you get clarity, because clarity is what you desire your loved one. And if you run from your reality right now, then you are not accepting what is right in front of you. The more you run, the harder life becomes. So we invite you to sit back and relax and ground yourself and just observe from a third party's point of view. And you would realize that everything that is happening to you right now is for you and for a reason. And the only reason why it's happening to you is for growth. And dear ones, please remember, you have asked for it. You have asked for growth. You have asked for a better life, and every cycle of growth is different. This is to prepare you for what you have asked for, and it is, I'm having the chills, and this is to prepare you for your soul's destiny. Remember, time is an illusion. There is no rush to get there. Enjoy the journey, because the destination, it is just the destination. The magic lies in the journey itself. This is why you signed up for life. This is what you signed up for, to experience life, for growth. And you have volunteered, dear ones. Remember that you have volunteered to reincarnate at this current time, to raise consciousness. Oh, I'm having the chills. To raise consciousness. To raise consciousness. There is nothing else you need to do. You just need to be. Just be, dear ones. Love you all. Alrighty, so thank you for joining me for the first episode. I will be back next week, same time. And thank you for joining me. And if you're watching the replay, leave me a comment. Alrighty, take care. Bye bye.